Dr. Andy Hughes here with DeVoe School of Business, Technology, and Leadership here at Indiana Wesleyan University. We just finished our first speaker series on Unlearning Business as usual with some phenomenal guests. And so I'm going to have you guys introduce not only yourself, but the organization that you represent. And then I have a really important question that I can't wait to hear the response for. So go ahead, Marie.
Well, thank you so much for having us, first of all. My name is Marie McIntosh, and I'm the president and CEO of Employ Indy. Employ Indy is an organization in Indianapolis that focuses on ensuring all residents in Indianapolis have access to the services they need to get a good job, and that businesses are getting the talent that they need. And last year we served more than 50,000 people and had over 3,300 placements and tens of thousands of experiences for students in the work-based learning space.
Oh, that's phenomenal. Thank you again for being here, Marie. Patrick?
Thank you so much, Dr. Hughes. Patrick Wooten, I serve as Chief Operating Officer for Jane Pauley Community Health Centers. Jane Pauley's mission is to provide accessible and respectful and integrated health care to all, regardless of insurance status, and we have 18 sites across 6 counties here in Indiana. So we're providing that comprehensive primary care services to the community.
Awesome, awesome. Leonard?
I'm Leonard Hoops. I'm the president and CEO of Visit Indy. Visit Indy's mission is to optimize, or to actually enhance the quality of life in Indianapolis by optimizing visitor-related economic impact. And so we're the primary organizations for things like conventions and meetings, and we're either the primary or partner organization on things like major sporting events, concerts, things of that nature, and then also leisure travel, bringing all the leisure travelers to Indianapolis.
Awesome. For those of you that are watching, we finished our first session on Unlearning Business as usual, and the focus, as you may have guessed, was on not-for-profit businesses and C-suite leaders who think differently. Unlearning Business as usual is not just a tagline, right? It's what you guys do every day. So with that in mind, as you think about not-for-profit and your own organization, what's been an experience or practice that you have employed, that you deployed, that really underscores this unlearning business as usual, doing things that unexpected and not-for-profit that you had to do in order to move your organization forward? So Marie, I'm going to start with you. Is that okay?
So when I think about your question, what comes to mind for me is how much my not-for-profits or organizational revenue has changed over time, and how we have really worked to amp up the way in which we raise revenue and how we minimize our expenses. So just really quickly, we used to receive more than, I'd say, 60% of our funds from the federal government, and deploy them out to help serve individuals, to help them find better jobs if they've been unemployed, if they're looking for a better pathway. And today, that number is more at like 25%. And that shift in revenue, we really work to grow with our corporate partners and with sponsorships, but also with new philanthropic organizations. And the way that we had to do that was by leading first with a strategic plan that focused on where we could be innovative in the community, where there were gaps in the community that we could fill that weren't being filled by all the other many partners who are also working on economic mobility. So that continues. Today, we are still talking about how we need to evolve our fundraising strategies for what the times demand today and the pace at which change is happening. So that's something I would share. And then quickly on the expense side, I think that there's often a misconception that nonprofit leaders aren't looking at that bottom line, but we really are. We're looking at it for the purpose of mission and impact, of course, but we've had to do a lot of work at Employ Indy given some of the many changes that have happened in our organization, some of which I just mentioned, that have caused us to focus how much we're offering in terms of benefits packages, how many individuals we have in certain roles, and all of that organizational structure shifting and deeper approach to how we ensure that we remain competitive as an organization and can retain really great talent, while at the same time maximizing every dollar that we can to be spent out in the community. It's been a journey, and I think it's not the way a lot of not-for-profits have had to operate in the past, but increasingly the way all of us are going to have to operate in the future.
Wow. I think you're right. I think there's an assumption that not-for-profits simply collect money and make sure everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And that business acumen that you would see in for-profits or public held companies, not deployed. But you have to do more, not less of that, because the margins are so thin, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And a not-for-profit that doesn't make money is an out-of-business not-for-profit.
That is correct. We want to survive and still be able to like fulfill our mission out in the community for sure. And
Awesome.
thrive, really.
Phenomenal. Thank you, Marie, for that. Patrick, same question. What about you?
Yeah, so much has changed in healthcare since the pandemic. And if we can just reflect, a few years back when in the pandemic, we were upwards of 80% telehealth because we obviously were reducing our schedules to minimize the spread of COVID-19 during that particular time. And so looking at now of how we've changed in healthcare, leveraging modalities like telehealth is really the thing that we're doing now. Again, it's still delivering care, but it's a different method. And not only just telehealth from the standpoint of provider being in the office and actually engaging with patients that are in their home, but actually in these situations of where we can actually recruit and train individuals in locations that are geographically spread, that we create atmospheres and that are conducive to patients so that they can come in our defined locations and receive services from providers that are in other places as well. So I'd say the evolution of telehealth has really went up in healthcare to make sure that we can still provide comprehensive healthcare to all of the communities that we serve. I also say the integration of AI, right? We see AI everywhere. And so as I spoke about in our series today, what about integrating AI as a means for helping with clinical note-taking so that our providers can be more efficient? They don't have to worry about the administrative burden of that. And of course, they can provide that comprehensive care that they've been trained to actually provide, as opposed to focusing on, can I complete those charts within a 48-hour period? And so making sure that we have AI integrated into the fold of that, not only from the provider experience, but also the patient experience with call center operations.
So insightful, right? I think sometimes we're so afraid of AI that we go to the extremes. And when you go to the extreme, when you overcorrect, you wreck, right? I think within the course of an ethical AI framework, it's really a great equalizer for those in underserved communities that haven't other options. So I love the fact that you're doing that. In fact, here at Indiana Wesleyan, I'm launching the Center for Ethical AI. You heard it here first, all right? The Center for Ethical AI, so that we can stop the noise about AI bad. It's the next Terminator, right? Human good, and say AI can really do some things for us to release uniquely human touches so we can become more human, not less. So thank you for leading the way there. That's awesome. Leonard.
Well, I think what unlearning business to me means is that you should never get comfortable or satisfied with the status quo. And much less AI, I think back to when I started, I was working for a Fortune 120 company, one of the biggest companies in the world back in the late 80s. So I've been in the workforce for 38 years. And we didn't have email. And there was no internet for us to access. I had a dictionary on my desk. There was a corporate library with encyclopedias if we needed to do certain research. And a lot has changed in that 38 years, and if you didn't adapt along the way, the classic line about the only thing that's constant is change, especially in business, is absolutely true. And there are people who are entering the workforce now who think that they're on top of things because they're early experts at prompting AI and things of that nature. The world will look different in 10, 20, 30 years to them as well, beyond what most of us can even imagine right now. And so, I mean, when I left the Fortune 120 company I was with 7 years later, we had only then rolled out internal email. So you could email each other. Until then, it was manila envelopes with mail stop, whatever the number was, in order to communicate with each other. And when you went to a convention, everybody ran to the phone banks to dial an 800 number to get their voicemail, because that's how you got your messages. And so, you think about that to where we are now, and we're prompting AI to do all sorts of different things that technologically is so much more powerful. And think about, there is more power in our phones, more computing power in our phones today than NASA had at their disposal when they put a man on the moon in 1969. It's incredible. So never get comfortable with the status quo. Never be satisfied with the status quo. If you are, you're kind of doomed to failure, I think.
Oh, what a great statement. I think sometimes we underestimate progress, right? And I think sometimes as not-for-profit leaders, there is this tendency, and I came from a background in industry that had both profit and not-for-profit centers, and there's this tendency to think that we're dealing with people, not technology. But the reality is, business moves at the speed of technology. And in order to allow people to move, you have to leverage technology in a way that makes sense. You guys are phenomenal. We've had a great series, and I cannot tell you or them enough of what I've learned today in the hour. It's been absolutely phenomenal. We hope you continue to tune in to this podcast as we'll continue the series, Unlearning Business as Usual. Thank you again to our guests, Marie, Patrick, Leonard. You have been a joy and a pleasure. We so appreciate you being here at Indiana Wesleyan today. Thank you.